Welcome to episode 1 of Promantus Edge. This is your host Snigdha Bhardwaj, Marketing Associate at Promantus. Today, we are diving into the topic Digital Transformation for a Sustainable Future, exploring how it can pave the way for a greener and a sustainable future. Joining us today is Mr. Gautam Tarafdar, COO and Treasurer at Promantus. Mr. Gautam, welcome to the show, and I'm very excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Snigdha. Thanks for hosting this.
So, before we dive into the conversation, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. My name is Gautam Tarafdar, and I am a serial entrepreneur. That's how I consider myself. I started my entrepreneur journey at age 26, and this is my third run at this merry-go-round of being an entrepreneur, and the one which has lasted the longest. All my forays have been in the area of information technology consulting. I studied economics for my bachelor's, which I hardly used until I started delving into AI to understand better how to leverage this technology as a business driver of growth and transformation. I even studied business administration to see how it can be applied in marketing, but destiny had other ideas for me. Very proud to be part of Team Promantus with my partner Ilangovan Nagalin and a global team of 500 employees and consultants spread across US, Europe, and Asia.
Okay, thank you for that lovely introduction. So, Promantus has been working with organizations like IWBI, Delos, and USGBC, which operate in the climate action space. So, can you share some insights on how Promantus has made a contribution through its digital transformation solutions while working with these organizations?
Sure. At Promantus, we believe technology can be a game changer for sustainability. We have been fortunate to partner with various organizations, like you said, the US Green Building Council, the
Mhm.
International Wellbeing Institute, and we have also started working with DEWA, the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, and ADNOC, which is the Abu Dhabi National Oil Corporation, on impactful projects. For example, we played a key role in building and maintaining platforms like LEED, V4, and ARC, which empower green building practices and sustainability certifications.
Mhm.
We take pride in exploring trends in technology which allows us to offer value-added offerings to our ever-growing customer base.
I
Our
th-
growth over the last 3 to 4 years has been in helping our clients achieve their goals using the power of digital transformation.
Mhm. Okay, I think that's fascinating. So, Promantis has helped build and maintain platforms like Lead V4 and ARC that you mentioned. So, in that context, I am curious to know how data technology plays a part to support these green building practices and certifications. Can you share a specific instance where data insights from these platforms helped their clients reduce harmful environmental impact?
Sure.
Hmm.
Let's take the ARC platform. It
Yeah.
is a performance management platform for buildings and portfolios of buildings, and now even communities and cities. Now, ARC has enabled data capture for energy, water, air quality by directly gathering these from source meters and IoT-based sensors. This capability to connect to the data source, the simplicity and the ease of it makes it so much easier and simpler to get the data in your hand. In the recent past, if you wanted to track, say, your energy usage, you had to open your paper bill or statement and then manually enter this information into a spreadsheet. Now repeat this for all the sources that you want to track. With the hard mundane tasks of, and I would dare say repeatable tasks now being taken away with dashboards being available,
Mhm.
you can devote your time and energy to the actual strategies of reducing the usage of these resources using a combination of things like reuse, reduction, reimagining what you can do with the technology at hand now. Now you can generate reports, make comparisons across different buildings in your portfolios, compare it to similar building types in your portfolios, compare it to your peers, your competition, best in class to see how you stack up.
Mhm.
In this context, one thought that left a deep impression on me is what the ex-CEO of USGBC, Mahesh Ramanujam, said as a guiding principle. He said, what gets tracked gets measured, what gets measured gets improved, and what gets improved gets repeated. We have to remember that technology is an enabler. It would be appropriate to say that technology, and more specifically, Information technology is the fabric that underlies most modern buildings. They are making buildings smarter, easier to operate, more efficient, and effective users of shared resources. Now think about it. Use of motion sensor-based lighting and self-learning thermostats is quite commonplace in our commercial buildings now. These are based on usage patterns of energy and lighting during different times of the day, gleaned from observable behaviors. These features in these devices save anywhere from 10 to 18% of energy in a typical building in a year.
I
Back to you.
think I think those are some impressive results. I was reading a report the other day. So according to International Energy Agency, energy sector takes up more than three-fourths of the global greenhouse gas emission. And it's really commendable how these organizations are working to solve these problems, right? But so data privacy becomes very important when dealing with building occupants' well-being data, like in IWBI's case. So how do you ensure that data privacy is protected while using it to improve health and sustainability in buildings?
Great question there.
Yeah.
Now, data privacy is critical, but unless mandated by city, county, and federal authorities, there is very little data being shared in public domains out of our concern for data privacy. And when I'm referring to this concern we have, I'm talking about sharing data about your energy, water, waste related usage. Now, this is not even personal data like your health vitals, which are being tracked interestingly using a host of apps, which you yourself volunteer to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the US is driven by strong guardrails using under the aegis of the HIPAA laws we have in place. This is generally adhered to by our mostly law-abiding public. Now, additionally, people do not leave this kind of personal information in plain public view, right? Now, when we at Promantus build any applications and solutions, we encrypt data transmission and storage, which is industry standard now for any app to be successful. In fact, all of our clients demand it. Additionally, the risk comes in based on how you access the data. Nowadays, it is mostly over mobile devices, right?
Correct.
So we incorporate multi-factor authentication at a minimum to validate the identity of the device that wants to access this data. Smarter, passwordless solutions for identity verification popular, and we have begun to offer and recommend them to our customers. I would also like to add that coming to the question of ensuring data privacy, a simple way which is currently being used in the industry is to mask or anonymize the data. A second approach that we have used at IWB and USGBC is to aggregate the data for the different categories across building types and portfolios. And lastly, we are thinking next steps. The intersection of climate and technology has opened up new vistas for us, and we are excited by the opportunities that are ahead of us. And by the way, we are not just limited to sustainability. We are SAP partners, we are Workday partners, we are Kariba partners. We are working in identity access management and blockchain ecosystems and grown the company to, as I said, 500 people globally now. Back to you.
Mm-hmm. I think you made some really interesting points, and I'll keep them in mind. So, moving ahead, my next question is collaboration across industries is important for tackling climate action challenges on a global scale like this. So, how does Promantus see digital technologies facilitating information sharing and collaboration in sustainability efforts? Can you elaborate on specific examples of collaborations like these?
Yes. So cross-industry collaboration is already happening.
Hmm.
Certification of any building or project involve multiple teams working in tandem to achieve this common goal, right? This includes architects, engineers, construction, logistics and supply chain, manufacturers, environmental scientists, health and safety professionals, working as part of a project team to provide inputs in terms of data from their respective fields. The challenge arises more in terms of our circularity and the price that consumers are willing to pay to recycle used products and waste generated from usage, sometimes as a byproduct. A good example is packaging material. The popularity of online shopping over the last few years has resulted in a 20x rise in the usage of packaging materials in shipping these products to your door. The product sellers like Walmart, Amazon, Target, they have risen to the challenge, and we see products now being consolidated before being shipped, even though you may have ordered during different times of the day. And the packaging material being used can now be recycled, multiple times. So we are trying to build a circular loop for recycled packaging material. Now, this is great news for planet Earth. Disparate industries collaborating together to promote a circular economy where we consciously reuse a product multiple times through remanufacturing process is on the right. Digitization of data points helps facilitate reduction of this waste as it moves through this chain of usage and reuse by providing more accurate measurements across the value and usage chain. Now, Promantus is constantly looking to help our sustainability clients with technology that enables decarbonization and encourages movement towards net zero. ARC already does that by tracking building performance. Our team is looking into integrating ESG and net zero into upcoming solutions. Now, talking about collaboration, the shining example of cross-industry and international cooperation in the sustainability space has been in the effort to eliminate CFCs or chlorofluorocarbons, which was identified as a primary source for the growing hole in the ozone layer over the North and the South poles, which was discovered in the early 1990s. Once the problem was identified, a global coalition was formed to dump old machinery, mostly refrigerators using CFCs, was the primary cooling agent. This coolant was replaced with non-harmful chemicals, and within 20 years, we have come to a place where we have shrunk the size of this hole of this ozone layer by 90%. Now, we have monitors which track emissions of CFCs through satellites, and these are able to identify areas in the globe where CFCs with any significant concentration is released in the air. Then that country is alerted, and people go to work to identify the specific source on the ground and make efforts to eliminate the source. Similarly, today, our biggest threat is the heating of the planet, right? While carbon dioxide gets the lion's share of attention, methane is more than 28 times as potent as carbon dioxide at trapping heat in the atmosphere. Various agencies are mapping methane in the atmosphere through similar satellite services and make them available to research and commercial users, and are collaborating on finding ways to sequester this methane at the source. It is fascinating how research from labs by using digital technology is helping the commercial sector in an area that directly impacts the health of the planet. Thank you.
I think that's fantastic to know. I got to know some really interesting points. But what I had in mind is businesses often hesitate to invest in new technologies due to reasons like, budget constraints and uncertain ROI. So, how can companies justify the investment in digital transformation for sustainability, showcasing the ROI beyond the environmental benefits?
Great question. And I'm going to approach it in a slightly different way, right? Let's talk economics here. Our society is driven by economic performance. Competition leaves behind those who are slow to adapt. Innovations based on technology that usually helps companies gain a competitive advantage, right? It has been proven over a period of time now. If you do not keep pace with your current competitors, you fall behind and may perish. Even if you are in a niche, super rare field where the barriers to entry are high, the bubble will burst. The question is, how long will it last? At some point, the bubble is definitely going to burst, right? Now, along the same lines, owing to the impacts of the climate crisis driven by human actions in our midst, society is already paying the price for ignoring the threat from successive and more severe climate events. We see it all around us. Regulation and mandates from governments and governing bodies is increasing to try and mitigate that. Now, let's look at it from a societal perspective. Gen Z values and rewards companies who are ecologically friendly and sustainable by voting with their wallets. So companies who ignore and can currently continue to ignore the purchasing power of Gen Z will only be able to do that for the next 5 to say 10 years at the most. Because we are going through a generational shift, right? From a spending pattern perspective. Companies who have to continue showing to will I would rather say companies will have to continue showing to society that they care and demonstrate that through tangible actions. Investing in sustainable choices will be embedded into the fabric of economic DNA. So while investing in so-called sustainable choices through digitization is an option today, in a few years, the ones who do not will be left behind. It has already been proven that companies who are acting responsibly to sustainable causes are gaining an edge in the marketplace. For instance, as it's becoming increasingly difficult to choose between investment options for, say, pension funds and other large lenders, all things being equal, capital is favoring companies who have a better sustainability footprint. Similarly, financial institutions are charging lower interest rates for investments that drive a sustainable built-in agenda. Insurance companies are charging lower premiums for properties and investments that mitigate or address or lower climate risks. As companies are trying to reduce cost while gaining competitive advantage, Promantus is using the power of its digital transformation tools such as IoT, artificial intelligence, and robotic process automation to give its clients this edge through highly trained AI algorithms. Given in many industries, the human capital cost is often the highest cost components. Technology drivers that reduce this dependence on human capital is allowing companies to gain an edge and deliver ROI faster. Thank you.
I think you have given some really excellent points to me. Collecting data and analyzing that data, it makes processes optimize and reduce the redundancy in those processes so that there is better efficiency. So, to conclude this, I would like to ask you what emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain offer exciting possibilities for accelerating progress towards a sustainable future.
Yes, I would say all three of these technologies will enable a more sustainable future. The most notable of these is blockchain.
Mhm.
Blockchain will help eliminate greenwashing, now a popular trend in corporate world wherein companies are making empty promises and pretending to do good without walking the talk. By locking in transactions using blockchain, claims on sustainability will have to pass this litmus test of verifiability. Uh, AI is already making big waves by drastically reducing time, energy, and cost of doing a wide variety of tasks. All of these factors, I think, will contribute to a more sustainable future. Thank you.
Wow, that was such an interesting conversation, Mr. Gautam. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights and your passion for a sustainable and greener future. For all our listeners, thank you for being such a lovely audience. Before you go, make sure to follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn. We'll be back with yet another episode. Stay tuned until then. Thank you very much.